Okay.
Good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH286, and this is New Zealand's Labour Day, the 28th of October. And it is actually a very pleasant day for labouring here. I see my radio is acting up a little bit here, but hopefully you can copy me. 16 degrees outside and quite a lot of sunshine, about 50% cloud, but it's not evil-looking cloud, it's just a bit of stratus dew. A little bit more on the horizon, 1017.5 and rising, and the breeze is from the west to southwest actually here, west sort of, 50% cloud cover as I mentioned, and I've got a report from Counting Stars. They are about 10 miles from Nine Pin, and it's northwest 7 to 10, which makes more sense. Northwest 7 to 10, a very lovely way to enter the Bay of Islands. So good morning. If you can copy on, maybe you can, seeing as you're still outside there. They'll be at the Q dock in a few hours. We have quite a bit of reports. A whole swag of them have just come in actually. We have Minerva, thank you Taranui 3. I'm sure there's a whole pile of boats at Minerva. East 17, a small swell inside or chop. 100% cloud cover there. So that's the report from Minerva, and David, of course, will be definitely covering when you leave Minerva. Although with so many of you there, it will be quite fun, I would imagine, for get-togethers and snorkeling amongst the sharks at the pass. Ranganui too have reported they're up at 32, so they're pretty close too. They've got the 7 knots of northwest. So that seems to be what it is for those of you who have worked it well to come in today before the front. Mezzaluna, good morning to you folk that are all heading to Bundaberg. They've only got 110 miles to go. It's flat, calm. They're motoring sort of in a conservative sort of way to keep their fuel stocks. So all is good there for arriving in Bundaberg. Marilyn, also, they're a bit further up, 50 minutes and 172, and they have got 9 knots of northwest. So that's pretty constant for those of you who are coming towards New Zealand in that 30 to New Zealand bracket there, 100% cloud cover. Okay, I'm not sure if we've got anybody else. Good morning to Shimata crew in Numia. They say well done to Counting Stars. They must know each other there. As I say, I've just got quite a few reports have only just swung in. So Lupan, by the way, they have left, and they have got 150 miles to the Bay of Islands. Ooh, they'll get in tomorrow morning, so they'll have to deal with a bit of front there, but so far so good. And again, 7 to 9, they've got westerly winds there. Good morning to you, Ulla and Pele. I'm sure you can't copy us. I do have a bit of news, however, to cover. One of them is a bit of bad news, actually. We got an email from Captain Baloo in the weekend to say they had lost their mast, Lassa and Inga, and Lassa's dad on board. It's a Della 34. And then I hear that the boat has sunk. So I'm sure that there is quite a bit to learn about what happened there post the mast coming down. It's hard to believe that then resulted in the boat sinking. So we'll have to hear from Lassa at some stage. But they were picked up. Good, well done from the Fijian folk who picked them up, and they are no problems at all. Picture in the Fijian Times. Another bit of news also from who was it? Barefoot. Barefoot are in touch with a boat who was sailing down to Brisbane. You might recall that a catamaran flipped, and in fact it was a loss of life back in I think it was July 11th, according to David. a boat that was travelling down that area on Saturday actually saw and passed right by the inverted cat. So it is the same boat. They took the registration number. So you will need, if you're heading towards Coffs or Brisbane, to take this position down. It is at current, well, this was on Saturday. It currently is 2531.67 south. I repeat, 2531.67 south, and east 16019.43. 16019.43. So please be aware of that one. The boat it's pretty much on the run line, halfway between Noumea and Brisbane, 390 miles from each. So please take note of that, and thank you, David, for, that's David on barefoot, not the one sitting beside me. Thank you for passing that on. Okay, we are going to start weather. Of course, a lot of you are getting edgy. It looked, well, I'm not going to say anything. We will do the weather just after the top of the hour, which is then going to be 8 o'clock New Zealand time. I'm getting so confused with who's gone on daylight saving and who hasn't. So it will be in about 10 minutes time. So there you go. All right, I better start a bit of news. New Zealand's certainly a long black cloud at the moment. The semi-finals World Cup rugby in Japan was an absolute disaster for New Zealand. We were totally outplayed, outclassed, outthought. It was a horrible 80 minutes of total superiority by the English team. And the score was 19-7. It probably, looking at the play, you would have thought of about 40-7. In fact, New Zealand were lucky to even get 7. It was absolutely appalling. We listened on the radio and gave up at half time. The Brits we shouldn't say Brits, the English got a try within 2 minutes of the start. It did appear that the entire New Zealand team were on Valium and just didn't know what to do, where to go, or how to get there. So that was that game, and much more. Well, it was a very fast game, lots happening, more so than the game between Wales and South Africa, which was a more traditional game. South Africa got a penalty kick just at the end and beat Wales 16-19. So that means on Friday, New Zealand will play Wales for third place, and England and South Africa will have the big show of the evening. I suppose I should do a bit more of sport. The World Series, I always chuckle at that one in America. The Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals, teams I've never even heard of before, are in the final of the World Series. They are now 2 each. Another game is on tonight. And Australia beat New Zealand in the netball in the weekend, so they retain the Constellation Cup. It was a significant win, 53-46. So you can imagine that it is you don't talk sport in New Zealand. The funny thing is, normally when there's a big game with the All Blacks, and if they happen to lose, which is infrequent, it's always, the referee, we were done, and so on and so forth. But not one single person, not one single commentator has said anything other than, well, we certainly deserved to lose. It was a shocker performance. Okay, thanks to, I think it was Intrinsic, told us about Diwali. So maybe anybody who's trying to check out in Fiji today may find it very short-staffed because of the Indian numbers, they take Diwali pretty seriously there. It's a good reason for celebration here in Auckland too. We have a very high Indian population. The big news, international news, is that the ISIS leader, Bahir al-Baghdadi, a real evil guy, he was the target of a raid by US military special forces in northwest Syria, right on the Turkish border at a village called Barisha. They got him. So there you are. it sort of made me chuckle because here's all this business about the US pulling out of that area, and here we have this. Well, it's a very, very significant event there to get this very evil guy. So well done, US Special Forces. Not so great for those living in Queensland or in Sonoma County. Let's start with Queensland first. Parts of southern Queensland, in fact bordering on northern New South Wales, have had 100 days now without rain. And in fact, in the whole period, July, August, September, they've had less than 10 millimetres. So farmers are now asking for an exit package from the area. They don't even have enough water to put with their whiskey. This exit package deal from the government has happened before in 2007, I think it was, and also in Western Australia they had one in 2011. So it's not unique, but that's something that they'll have to look at for that very, very parched land. As you probably know, for those that arrived there early, it has been very hot in that period. It's been amazing, even in Brisbane. And looking at Sonoma County, the fire there, unfortunately, is the one at Kincaid, has meant the evacuation of 180,000 people, covering large parts of Santa Rosa City. Now that's the city. I used to live there. It got affected 2 years ago. It was horrible, and it's happening all over again from a PG&E line by the look of it, with the strong winds that they have had. So not very good news from California either. I think I'm almost at the stage of saying that I'm not going to talk about Brexit anymore. I've already made that promise to myself about the whole impeachment process in Washington. But in the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has conceded that he would not meet the end of October deadline that he had set for leaving the EU because of the various ties that have been put on. He wants lawmakers to agree to a December 12th election in return for more time to debate his Brexit proposal. So for this to happen, of course, the EU must grant an extension on the UK. What they had proposed, they had agreed to his proposal, but of course he can't get it passed within his own mob. Well, he did get it passed actually, but not within the time frame. I don't know how that works. The Brits have a funny way of doing things. But anyway, they will have to agree to the extension, otherwise the UK will bounce out of the Union. And what they reckon is a dreaded no-deal scenario. I think it would just be great for everyone to do that and get on with the job. Anyway, going to America, the Feds, for those of you interested in how your funds are going to renew, they are meeting this Wednesday, and most experts believe that there will be another rate cut. This will be the third in a row. Okay, that's about it. Oh, by the way, just an update on those people that were found in the UK in a truck. There were 39 people died. They appear to have come from Vietnam. One of them had a phone and had sent her mother a phone message with her where she had come from, details. 5 people have been arrested now, and it appears that they were part of a convoy of over 100 people coming from Vietnam to England. I'm not quite sure why, but anyway, they must have decided it was a better place to be. All right, so that's about it in terms of what I have to say. We are getting a lot of emails, folks. Please put your boat name in the subject line. Boat name in the subject line. We're getting very, I know you expect us to have very good memories, but if you just ask a question and put your personal name at the end of the message, we have absolutely no idea where you are because there's just so much coming in. So please put your boat name, no matter how much you think we know you, because of so much coming in. It just speeds things up for us if you put your boat name there. And I've just got another message from Taranui here. 21 boats, or 22 boats actually, even some with 2 holes. 4 others coming in at the moment in Minerva. So I think, David, you better probably start with Minerva. But we'll see what he comes up with. I'll just do a pause. Hopefully there is no radar coming in. Is there anybody on Passage that wants to give a position? Please come now. Oh, it's Alchemy 2, eh? So I just didn't quite catch that. I had to turn the volume up. Alchemy 2, good morning, go ahead. Okay, just check that I have got your longitude right. I have you at 2354 and 173. A bit uncertain about that. 17348. Did I get that right? Over. 17348 east. All right, got that. And 6 knots, going pretty well on winds that are as forecast. All well on board, over? Got it now, 163. Yep, that makes more sense from where you set off from. Okay, 163. Sorry about that. I'm a little hungover, to be honest. So there you have it, 163. Thank you very much, and fair winds for the rest of the day. I will take any others after what David has finished. I think we've still got these reports that things start to not get so good. I will take others, and that will mean I can get people a bit closer to me if we wait a bit. So we will take others shortly after David has finished. So I'll swap the microphone over, and here he is.
Yeah, I'm not doing so good either. Birthday girl yesterday had plenty of champagne. All right, we'll call this the good news, bad news day. Many of you have had a pretty damp weekend thanks to trough and convective activity in many of the islands. Others of you had some pretty fair weather. This is brought to you by the anticyclone, or the high, that's just north of New Zealand. Now, looking at the long wave pattern, not short wave, the long wave pattern, I see a blocking high east of New Zealand. It's very, very slowly drifting east. And by the 30th, it should be, I would say, south of French Polynesia. Now, the NCEP frogs, NCEP, those frogs show a persistent 500 millibar trough. The axis about 165 west. That's around 4 November. So we've got a very nice 500 ridge over New Zealand on that date. That's good news. That's nice news. And that supports the idea of a reasonable arrival that we predicted Friday. Now, let's see what's changed. The long wave frogs do show a 500 ridge 6 November over the Tasman right through the 8th of November. And that extends over New Zealand. That's pretty good too. But hang on, we have more to say in a minute about all of this. Now, for those arriving New Zealand today and tomorrow, approaching New Zealand, we can expect westerlies to northwesterlies in the 15 knot range, and they'll be shifting southwest about 15 on Tuesday. That'll be early morning Tuesday, and they'll be rising to 25 knots. Now, this is the passage of our frontal band that we forecast last week. Now, the front should be over Northland, Yotula area, Marsden, around, well, the main part of it around 9, 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So far, it's pretty much all as we forecast. There'll be some prefrontal activity late today. Then we've got another front, very fast mover. That'll be over the country on Wednesday, Thursday of this week. Now, for the Minervans, the winds look to be east-southeast, around 15 knots this morning. We've got a few reports that I think are similar to that, which is good. Maybe easterlies later on today. If you're heading to New Zealand, you'll see very light air near 30 south, and then westerlies turning northwesterlies. Then we have the front on Tuesday. So a lot of you are on your way. We're not quite sure where many of you are. And anyhow, one more front to follow that one on Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, the winds become quite fresh southerlies for those heading toward New Zealand. 25 knots or so on Thursday, then maybe shifting to south-southwest about 20. Now, Friday, we're looking at southeasterlies near Minerva and southerlies near New Zealand. Yeah, that doesn't sound so good. Light air on Sunday as the next high approaches New Zealand. Also on Wednesday, a couple days from now, expect a trough formed by the clashing of the retreating high and the new oncoming high. All in all, it just doesn't look particularly good to depart to New Zealand right now. Now, for those looking for that nice arrival window, at this point, still appears to be about 5 November on Tuesday. That really hasn't changed very much. Maybe early 6 November, Wednesday. Then we've got a depression that will approach New Zealand, and that could spoil the arrival, but that would make the departure around Wednesday of this week, maybe Thursday, for those of you that are in Fiji or Tonga. So Tuesday, east-southeast winds, Tonga and Fiji, they'll be fresh. Wednesday and Thursday, we see those dreaded southerlies south of both Tonga and Fiji. Winds, again, from the eastern side of the Tasman High. If you can get high a bit, say by Sunday, the winds become east-southeast at about 25 south, and then easterlies at 30 south. And that's as that high starts to drift a little bit further east. But still, we've got that annoying trough, which is the fly in the ointment. So that's not very good news. Now, this trough is going to be running north-south, and basically on Wednesday. There'll be cloud and whatnot before that, and cloud after that. But it's going to be almost over the date line. That's about where the axis is going to be, give or take on that. But that's roughly where it's going to be. And it's a long one. I mean, it runs from New Zealand all the way up to the islands. Now, again, it's caused by the convergence of the two highs, to repeat myself, the oncoming and the outgoing. EC, the model, ECMWF, continues to form a depression at the north end of this. GFS does not show any closed isobars. They show areas of cyclonic winds, winds rotating in a clockwise direction. I'm going to explain that, why that is. Picture the two highs, the high to the west. The east side of it is going to have essentially southerly winds. The high that's leaving, the west side of that one, is going to have essentially northerly winds. Now, the high to the west, the winds are going to be a little bit stronger because they always are on the east side of a big high. They're always slower on the west side of a big high. And so we get what we call shear. And that means the west side a little bit faster than the east side. So you could picture a spin starts to form. And that's what the models are picking up. Like I said, EC puts an isobar there, but GFS does not. That doesn't mean one way or the other whether the winds will be cyclonic. They probably will be, and that'll be due to the shear effect. But they're fairly light. They're fairly light winds. And they'll start off being near Fiji, just to the northeast of Fiji, probably around the Lau. Now, late Wednesday, EC shows, like I said, one closed isobar, and it's located between Vavau and the Lau group. At the southern end of this very long trough, we get a true subtropical depression forming, and that'll be near 32 and 173 west. So that's a real live depression that the models seem to agree on. So that's going to form well to the south. So this is going to make for a bit of a swash zone between it and the oncoming high. So we're going to see fresh to strong southerly quadrant winds. It should be far enough east by Friday to get out of the picture, but between Wednesday and then, it's something you have to deal with. So what are you going to do, those of you in Fiji and Tonga? Frankly, Chameleon would give leaving in the next few days a miss. Between the headwinds and the trough, it's just too uncomfortable. You younger folk could deal with it. You can do your tacking, etc., but it's going to be pretty bouncy and not much fun at all. Now, right now I'm addressing the Fiji and Tonga yachts and the Minervans as well. It doesn't look too good for the Minervans because of this as well. Now, after the trough clears, the winds start to back, then the Minervans do have a chance to get going, with the goal of arrival still about Wednesday the 6th, assuming about 5 days to Opua, give or take on that. So maybe for them, a Thursday departure might work. Now, the Nukal and the Vanuatu yachts, on the other hand, they could leave this week from what it looks like. A nice arrival, again, that date still the 6th of November, Tuesday. You'll have north to northwest winds, not too bad at all. So what's left are the Fiji and the Tonga yachts. You really need to think about avoiding this trough. Initial headwinds, not nice. Maybe delayed departure until Wednesday, Thursday time frame, maybe more Thursday. Then you have to consider the New Zealand depression that's going to arrive 7 November, which is Thursday. But you still could make it if you went fast enough. If you left, say, Thursday, you could beat the next or the second New Zealand depression, which would be the 7th. Maybe arrival on the 9th isn't too bad. That's a Saturday. It's a little bit far off. There will be a depression, very weak, that will be sitting over New Zealand, more to the south. Then, possibly, we'll be looking at northwest winds for North Cape and Opua. So we'll see on that in another day or so. But that could be a different arrival date, looking at around the 9th of November. But we still have got some iffy things that are happening. So we're really not giving you a lot of very positive news here. A lot of boats in Minerva. They should be waiting, I think, until that trough clears them as well, gets out of the way, and then we'll see what's going on. And again, that puts them also in the Thursday time frame of this week. So we'll look at it again tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, and see what changes. We're still getting a good arrival date. Believe it or not, that has the whole theory that we gave you last week on arrival dates with those two highs, predicting that, that's still holding. So that's kind of amazing. Now, I'm going to briefly just cover the islands. You've heard a lot, probably confused. Tonga, they've issued a strong wind warning and a small craft advisory for Vavau and the coastal waters around about east to southeast 15 to 20, rising up to 25 at times. And we do have a trough. The trough lies to the north, but cloud does extend all the way down to the Hapais if you look at satellite imagery. Today the Hapais should be looking at east-southeast in the 20-knot range. Now on Tuesday for the area, easterlies 20 to 25. And I reckon we're going to see troughing on Thursday. Southerlies clashing with northwesterlies. And those are going to be from the two highs. On Friday, it's going to be all southerlies from what I could see. So, yep, on the nose again. Friday, yep, no, never mind. I just talked about Friday. All right, moving to Fiji then. The trough remains pretty slow moving. It's near Vanua Levu. If you look at your satellite imagery, you'll see it. Viti Levu doesn't look too bad, but Vanua Levu does not. So we have got quite a bit of cloud and shower activity up there in the northern half. And that's expected, though, to drift south over the group, so everybody will get the good news. Now, a heavy rain alert is in force for Vanua Levu, Taveuni, and surrounds. Quite similar for tomorrow. So cloudy showers, that's what you're going to get up there. Winds quite fresh today, east-southeast to southeast 20 to 25. And tomorrow, I'm going to call it 25 for the Lau, east-southeast, and in the 20-knot range for the rest of the group. And possibly cyclonic winds on Wednesday. Whether we get a closed isobar out of it or not, it doesn't really matter. It still looks like the winds are going to be rotating around the Wednesday time frame. That means they'll be all over the place. And centered pretty much over the northern Lau. And Thursday, fresh southerlies as this cyclonic area moves toward Tonga and eastward. Now, Vanuatu, they don't look bad on imagery at all. Scattered cloud, especially to the south and on the eastern side of the group. Expect fresh winds, southeast 20 to 25, seas about 2.5 meters today, and all of this about the same thing tomorrow. Newcastle looks quite good on imagery. For the lagoon, expect east-southeast in the 15-knot range. This afternoon, scattered cloud, and tomorrow about the same. Wednesday and Thursday, the winds will pick up just a wee bit, 15 to 18 in that range, and they'll be east to east-southeast. Actual conditions this morning, the outer reef easterlies, 17 to 20, Ile de Pan southeast 10, and Noumea easterlies 10, getting up to about 17. So swinging back and forth, 10 up to 17. So that's it for today. The people that wanted to go today or tomorrow, again in summary, you may want to think about pushing that out until this troughing gets done with. Many of you will ignore that and go anyhow. So we'll see how all this goes. We'll report again tomorrow as to what it looks like. So here's the boss.
Thank you for that. And Alchemy 2, Matt, could you get back to the microphone, please? I just have a quick question. I have to laugh. Shamata, I left out the Canadian NHL hockey results. Montreal Canadiens beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-2. Do you think anyone other than Canadians would be interested in that? Oh, we have quite a few Canadians out there, James, so thank you for that.
Minnesota, New York people.
Yep. Valak Report, Muscat Cove, Southeast 4 to 6. There was something else I wanted to tell you. There was one came in from Joy of Shamrock. They are at 2232 and 177 West. They are getting Southeast 14. With a southeast swell of 1.5 meters. Alchemy 2. A quick question. Would you like me to put that report on YIT, which I can do to save you doing an email, or have you done that? I haven't noticed it come through yet, but anyway, that's one question. And the other question was the wind, your actual wind speed and direction, please. Over. Okay, I've got 12 knots at 100 degrees. That's good. Thank you very much. Greetings to you both there, and I will put that on. Saves an email, doesn't it? All right. We're saying to having to do that email, and we'll get it out. All right. Is there anybody else? That wasn't all that great news for Labor Day, but that's all right. We'll keep you on for tomorrow. Anybody else with anything? There's a few things have come in on the streaming. Greetings to everybody. Mr. Troy and Y2K are heading up to places we haven't been at on the coast of New Caledonia there. All right, anybody else? Are there any relays? Can anybody hear somebody I cannot copy? Quintessa, I don't know what you've done. That radio is not performing all that great. It's light and clear, but very, very light. Alan, where are you? Okay, still at Malakula there. All right. Which side? What anchorage?
West or east?
Yeah, I didn't get that. So west or east? West or east? Over. In the southeast. Okay, got that. Thank you very much. And I assume all is well. Didn't you say Denise came this week? Over. Roger that. Okay. Oh, well, you'll be using the engine and making sure you are there. All right. I better send her an email and tell her that everything is organised for her arrival. Okay, Alan, anything else? Oh, she's on board. Okay, well, got that now. Good morning, Denise. All right, we look forward to meeting you at some stage this year. We're definitely going to be away all of January, February with the boat, probably most of January on Great Barrier, and then heading north from there up the coast. So who knows, we might see you out there. All right, thanks, Alan, for saying hi. And is there anybody else? Nothing else heard. All right, folks, we will be back again tomorrow. It looks like another gardening day for me today before anything happens. So that's good. It was getting a bit messy outside, what with all of the wind that we have had, leaves everywhere. And it was time to take out bowls and put in food type things. All right, cheers everybody. Have a good day. We'll be back again tomorrow. Frequency is all yours. This radio is playing up. It's the SWR is getting into the 2. I have no idea why.
Yeah. I think it was tune.
I've done all that. It's something to do with the